From the Altai to the White Sea, the lands where Kazakh people rode their horses, the historical expedition will follow the footsteps of ancestors. The 3 years journey was set out to the west. Kazakh traveler of the 21st century Sapari Skakov and his team have visited more than 20 countries in 70 days. A wonderful story of the great journey is featured in our program, In the Footsteps of Ancestors.
Featuring today: why do mausoleums in Kabardino-Balkaria look like yurts? What is the link between the monument to a Turkic warrior and an old church in the Karachay-Cherkess Republic? How similar is the language of the Highlanders to the Kazakh language? The North Caucasus is located between the Caspian and the Black Seas. It is a mountainous area. Our ancestors have been here as well. In the 12th century, a 40,000-strong Kipchak army led by Artek Khan arrived in Georgia through the mountain barriers to render military assistance to King David IV. Undoubtedly, in addition to the fighting, climbing the mountains was not an easy task. Every gorge of these mountains is populated. The North Caucasus is home to 30 different nationalities. Among them is the brotherly nation of the Kazakhs, the Turkic-speaking Balkars. The Kabardino-Balkar Republic is part of the Russian Federation. This is the land that fascinates with its unique nature. The total area of Kabardino-Balkaria is 12,470 square kilometers. The population is 865,000 people. The capital is the city of Nalchik. According to the population census 2010, 57.2% of the population is Kabardins. 12.7% are Balkar. Representatives of 18 other ethnic groups live in the republic in addition to the indigenous population. The Balkars, or the Malkars, as these people are called in a number of sources, welcomed the expedition members in compliance with the all-national customs and traditions. The similarity of their culture with the Kazakhs is immediately apparent. Our ancestors lived in the Caucasus between the Volga and the Don, the land of Deshti Kipchak, in the 9th to 12th centuries. Local tribes used to call them the Cumans or Polovtsi, and in other different ways, but those were one peoples, the Kipchaks.
Kuman dedi, Kıpçak dedi, her türlü bizge at verdi. Бірақ onun barlığı, бірақ қалық edi.
Once among these mountains, you imagine the hordes of bellicose ancestors. In the middle of the 11th century, the Kipchak tribes headed west of the Volga. They reached the Black Sea and Byzantium. Then most of the European continent had been conquered. The territory was huge and therefore was divided into two administrative parts, the eastern and the western Kipchak. The Volga River was the natural boundary of the two sides. The eastern Kipchaks, which included 11 tribes, have greatly influenced the development of the European peoples. There are many sources telling about the life of the western Kipchaks on the territory of Kabardino-Balkaria. According to scientists, more than 10,000 Kipchak burials have been found in this territory.
Форма надгробных камней, которые здесь в народе называют сандашла или подгребальные камни.
The shape of tombstones is similar to the monuments of the Altai region. This is practically their copy. It symbolizes the nomadic way of life. So our ancestors have wandered in these expanses from Altai to the Caucasus. Tombstones are made in the form of a person's body. Information about the deceased person is carved on the stone. This is a feature of the funeral rite of the Turkic peoples. Such feature is also observed on modern tombstones. This tombstone is located near the Balkarian village Aktopirak. This name shows the closeness of our peoples. The similarity of languages is obvious. After all, the roots are the same. Researcher Bizlan Atabiev can give an infinite number of examples on this topic. According to him, the traces of nomads can be found virtually at every step in the North Caucasus.
Казахи и балкарцы – это народы, которые абсолютно спокойно.
The Kazakhs and the Balkars easily understand each other, not only spoken language but also professional terminology. Our cultures, customs, and traditions and everyday life are quite similar. For example, they make felt from sheep's wool. Such types of felt as sirmak and tekemet are a common legacy. So we have common ancestors, which originate from the distant Saka tribes.
Независимо от того, какие это киизы. Либо Бичельген кииз или Ала кииз.
Our expedition got acquainted with all the exhibits of the Caucasian Archaeology Institute. The most special of them is this tombstone. It fully corresponds to the Turkic worldview. There are a lot of such monuments on the Kazakh land. The Kazakhs and the Balkars have led similar ways of life. For example, a yurt is placed near the house of one of the Balkar families. The expedition members were impressed by the yurt's interior and decoration. It was one in one with what we have. There is a small village of Yeltobe, 70 kilometers away from the capital city, almost on the border with Georgia. If the village could speak as a human, it probably would have told a lot. And yet our expedition visited this area and followed the footsteps of ancestors, so to speak, in search of valuable historical data. These tombstones near the village of Yaltabe are almost 1,000 years old. As you can see, some mausoleums resemble a yurt in shape. According to historians, the Great Silk Road passed here. The fact that Yaltabe was on the Great Silk Road is evidenced by the Chinese coins and other artifacts found here. Apparently, this village was known very well to passing caravans.
Здесь не одно тысячелетие назад сформировался.
Thousands of years ago, in this land, nomads have adopted a sedentary lifestyle. This area was very suitable for this from a geographical point of view. The most important trade routes intersect here. The Balkars themselves call Yaltabe the Golden Cradle, as it has a huge historical heritage.
Сформировались многочисленные населенные пункты.
According to local historian Tengiz Mokaev, several thousand people lived in Yaltabe, as can be seen from the proportional number of tombstones near the village. Stone monuments are similar in shape to nomadic houses. Yaltabe used to be a Kipchak settlement, of course.
Археологиялық қазбалар жұмыс кезінде тапқан көп
Examinations of skulls, which have been found here during archaeological excavations, prove that we are sharing common ancestors. They came here from the Altai.
Бабаларымыздың бір екені, барлығының келген жері Алтай екенін.
There is a city of Ternyauz, 47 kilometers away from Yaltabe. It is the center of the Elbrus district. It is considered the heart of this region. The Balkars have populated these steppes in the 1920s, since the times of collectivization. Earlier, they lived in the mountains, more precisely in the gorges of the highest Caucasus peak, Mount Elbrus. The Balkars call it the Eternal Mountain. The historical expedition has also visited here. The sacred land of ancestors welcomed fellow tribesmen with cordiality and hospitality. The word Elbrus comes from the Kipchak word Elbori, which means one of the largest and most noble clans of a tribe. There are a lot of such geographical names of rivers, lakes, and settlements derived from Turkic words in the territory of Kabardino-Balkaria. Members of the expedition headed by Sapar Iskakov have seen it. They also met with representatives of the Balkarian intelligentsia, spoke about the historical past, common roots, and the strengthening of friendship between fraternal peoples.
У нас общее прошлое и то, что
We share a common past. Despite the fact that we live in different states, the roots are one. We hope that this connecting thread, which starts from antiquity, is still there and will never tear. Your expedition is making a great contribution to this matter. Expedition members collect historical data and also take DNA samples from representatives of local population. The results of genetic test is a direct proof of the blood relationship of the two peoples.
Әлде зерттеу керек бұлардың мәдениетін, мәдениет жағынан, тарих жағынан.
There is still much to explore in culture, literature, history, and archaeology. We will become even closer. We will prove that we are one people. Young scientists should continue this work.
Білеміз. Әлде тұрған жұмыстар көп. Әсіресе мынау жаңадан шығатын ғалымдарға.
The languages of the Kazakhs and the Balkarians are very similar. Culture and roots are the same. The totalitarian policy of the Soviet government equally affected the destinies of our peoples. During the years of repression, many Balkarians have been expelled to Kazakhstan. The Kazakhs then showed a true kinship. They shared the last piece of bread with the brotherly peoples. The present generation must know, remember, and honor their history. The historical expedition in the footsteps of ancestors is trying to teach this to young generation. After Kabardino-Balkaria, the caravan headed to the next destination point, to the other side of Elbrus, the Karachay-Cherkess Republic. The Karachay-Cherkess Republic occupies 14,277 square kilometers. The population is 470,000 people. The capital is the city of Cherkessk. There are 10 different ethnic groups in the republic. 40% of the population are the Karachay.
Қазақ халқы мен Қарашай халқының түбі бір. Оның дәлелі ретінде
The Kazakhs and the Karachays share common roots. This can be seen in a stone monument in the city of Magas. You can simply recognize the Turkic face on it.
біздің бабаларымыздың дәл бет әлпеті көрініп тұр.
The monument is about twice as tall as human growth. It is a Turkic warrior. It dates back to the 8th, 12th centuries. It was at this time when the tribes of the Alans lived at the foot of Mount Elbrus. They created their state with the capital in the city of Magas. That is, now we can confidently say that both the Karachays and the Balkars, who consider themselves descendant from the Alans, share common ancestors, Turks, Kipchaks.
Генетически показывается, что вот наш народ карачаевцы – это один из
The results of genetic tests show that Karachays appeared in the historical arena after the collapse of the Alan state. That is, we are direct descendants of the Alans. The Karachay people still call each other the Alans. The Alans spoke Turkic language. I want to highlight that the Iranian Alans, in fact, have never existed in history. This is a fiction of the Soviet period. For example, 80% of the words used in the Kipchak's code Cumanicus are present in the Karachay language. This, of course, proves that the Karachays are the descendants of the Kipchaks. As archaeological excavations show, the Alans used to have not one but several cities. Many of them have been destroyed during the Mongol invasion. The capital of Magas holds a special place on this list. There are reports saying that 270,000 soldiers have been killed during its defense. In general, there is an assumption that this area is of great importance in world history. Some scholars believe that Christianity spread from here. This temple serves as a proof.
Этот храм X века.
This temple was built around the 10th century. This is the oldest church in Russia. According to some scholars, Christianity spread to the country's territory from here. By assumption, Byzantium contributed to the construction of the temple as it was closely located. The Black Sea is only 70 kilometers away. The Great Silk Road passed through Letton, the trade prosper.
Сюда километров 70 напрямую. И здесь перевалы, они были проходимы, и здесь шли пути.
Now, the Karachays are Sunni Muslims. They adopted Islam in the 14th century. Like all Turks, the local people have been pagans for a long time. They worshipped various natural phenomena. The Karachay people call their native language the language of the mountains. A lot of words are similar to the words of the Kumiks and the Nogais. Phonetics is similar to the Kazakh. The Karachays pronounce a number of words that start with yi in the Turkic language with zh, same as the Kazakhs. For example, not Yakshi but Jaksy. The same is true for the Balkars.
Домонгольский период, влияние кипчаков вообще на Северном Кавказе было довольно значительным. В XII-XIII веке.
Before the Mongol invasion, the Kipchaks played an important role in North Caucasus, especially in the 12th-13th centuries. The state of the Alans appeared at that time. Descendants of the Alans, the Karachais, and the Balkars have a similar language, religion, and common ancestors, the Kipchaks.
Начинают активно взаимодействовать с так называемым аланским населением того периода.
Members of the Kazakh expedition, in the footsteps of ancestors, met with a group of scientists from the Karachay-Cherkess State University, listened to their opinions on the history of the great land of their ancestors, Deshti Kipchak. In 2011, the university specialists launched a project called DNA. They took genetic samples from 450 people to identify their historical roots.
Большинство тюркских народов имеют в своем составе.
Most of the Turkic peoples belong to the same group. They have been separated from each other about 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. Modern Karachay people showed a 40% match with their ancestors. It is necessary to examine the remains found during the excavations for a more accurate conclusion. This is what we're planning for. I think it will reveal the truth.
Найти родство карачаевцев в периоде тысячи лет.
Добро пожаловать! Приглашаем вас на свадьбу карачаевскую.
If a good guest comes to a house, the sheep brings twins. This is the saying of the Turks. The arrival of the expedition to the tribesmen coincided with the wedding in the Karachay family. Historians and researchers have become honorary guests of the celebration. This is a great opportunity for them to see and compare customs and traditions. Despite the Caucasian motives, the Karachay's customs and traditions have the Turkic roots. For example, their customs include the opening of the bride's face, treatment of matchmakers with fat lard and liver of a sheep as a sign of the beginning of strong kinship ties, the blessing of an elder, aksakal, for a couple. A person who blesses the couple holds a bowl of clean water in his hands. Then everyone must empty the vessel loaded with a positive energy. The ceremony ends with a wedding according to the Islamic traditions.
Қазақстанның атынан, еліміздің атынан, президентіміздің атынан үлкен тілек айтқым келіп отыр.
I want to express my best wishes to you on behalf of our country and our president. Peace to your home. Let it always be filled with children's laughter and prosperity. The friendship between the Karachais and the Kazakhs is growing stronger. Let us have more such celebrations. And if a Kazakh man and a Karachay girl, or vice versa, would wish to marry, we will be happy. After the blessing, according to the Kazakh tradition, Sapar Iskakov presented a chapan to the oldest member of the dynasty. It is a sign of special respect and honor. We are very well welcomed every time to come to Kazakhstan. We are very pleased by the Kazakhs' hospitality. In the difficult years of exile, our brotherly peoples welcomed, cheered us up. At present, many Karachais live in Kazakhstan. Let our ties and kinship stay strong. Household items of the Karachais and the Kazakhs have common roots as well. For example, both use cubes, a vessel for the preparation of kumis, and such dishes as kazan and kuman. In the Caucasus, there are enough examples of the great cultural heritage of the Turks, our common ancestors. For example, a stone mill, a wooden saddle, a cubing, a vessel for making kumis. The Karachais have been using all this since ancient times. The Karachay people treat Kazakhs in a special way. Everyone expresses gratitude. Deportation to the Kazakh steppes united the fraternal peoples. Young people should remember and know about this, the museum staff say. There are many Cuban Cossacks in Karachay-Cherkessia. According to historical data, their ancestors united with the Kazakhs to oppose the Mongol conquerors in the 10th century. Our ancestors repulsed the common enemy with the Kipchaks. We are friends to this day. We celebrate every event together. We know that we, the Cossacks, share common roots with the Turks and with the Kipchaks. Indeed, according to ethnographers, the Cossacks also originate from the Turks. Historical expedition in the footsteps of ancestors intends to prove this kinship. DNA samples have also been taken from the ataman, head of the Cuban Cossack army.
Олардың бұрынғы ескі тілі түрік тілі болған. Дәстүрі тілік болған. Олар оны бірте-бірте ұмытып, қазір олар өздерін қазақпыз дейді, казаки.
According to the Cossacks, they used to speak the Turkic language. There is a similarity in traditions as well, but gradually they lost it. Don Cossacks are probably also our kindred, but this requires additional research.
Түрік тілі болған. Біздің мәдениетімізде солай ұқсатып. Сондықтан казаки деген қазақтар, Донда тұратын. Олар да біздің бір тұқымыз, бір тармағымыз, бір туысымыз деп мен айтар едім.
At present, Kazakhstan is an independent and a recognized state in the world arena. The steppe continues to be authoritative. The ancestors had gone a long path. Historical expedition is following the footsteps of ancestors to reveal amazing historical facts. Next stop is Crimea. It seems that this land is also hiding many secrets about our great ancestors.